Thank you very much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Dandava Pranams.
Okay. Can we share our screen? Yeah, we can. Well, that's nice. Okay. Let's just share our screen. Okay. Share. Okay. We can minimize. Okay. We can move this over here. Why not? Okay. Om Agyanatamarandasya. Om Agyanatamarandasya. Gyananjana Shalakaya. Chakshurunmilitam Jaina.
Chakshurunmilitam yena
Tasmai Shri Guruvai Namaha.
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master has opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances to him. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, author of the book Bhagavad Gita as it is, Gita. So we were asked to talk about Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 29 through 33. And so here's text number 29. Maybe I can chant, and then you can chant. Apane juvati pranam.
Apane juvati pranam.
Prane panam tatapare.
Prane panam tatha pare.
Pranapana gati rudhva.
Pranapana gati
Rudva
Pranayama parayanaha.
Paranyana
Apare niyataharaha.
Apare
Pranam pranesha juvati.
pranam prane sujuvati.
Apane.
Apane,
In the air which acts downward.
in the air which acts downward.
Juvati.
Juvati,
Offering.
offer.
Pranam.
Pranam,
The air which acts outward.
the air which acts outward.
Prane.
Prane,
In the air going outward.
in the air outward.
Apanam. The air going downward.
The air down.
Tatha.
Tatha,
As also.
as also.
Apare.
Apare,
Others.
others.
Prana.
Prana,
Of the air going outward.
Of the air
going outwards.
Apana.
prana,
And the air going downward.
and the air
going downwards.
Gati.
Gati,
The movement.
the movement.
Rudva.
Rudva,
Checking.
second.
Prana ayama.
Prana,
I am
Trance-induced by stopping all breathing.
induced
by stopping all breathing.
Parayanaha. So inclined.
so inclined.
Apare. Others.
Others.
Niyata.
Viyata,
Having controlled.
having control.
Aparaha.
Aparaha,
Eating.
Eating.
Pranan.
Prana,
The outgoing air.
out,
Outgoing air.
Praneshu.
Pranish.
In the outgoing air.
in the
Outgoing air.
Juvati.
Juvati.
Sacrifice.
sacrifice.
Maharaj, can we have your darshan, Maharaj?
Huh?
Can we have your darshan?
That's 20. That'll be 25 cents.
Okay.
Yeah. No, my camera's not working. I don't know why. If I click it on, what you'll see is a black cloud, I think.
Oh,
Is
okay.
that what happens? Is that what happens?
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
camera is switched off from the from
Yeah.
your laptop itself.
Your
Huh?
laptop, the eye may be closed.
My what's closed?
No, the eye of the laptop.
Yes,
No,
yes,
it's open.
yes. The eye.
Where
Yeah.
you see the
of
light
it.
coming, there
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
button.
No, there's
Yes,
no
there is
button
a.
where the light is there. This happens before. I rubbed it. I rubbed the camera. It
Oh.
works fine for some applications. Other applications, it doesn't work. So some
Near the
problem.
lens, near the
Uh-huh.
lens of the camera, there can be a button or a small push thing near the lens of the camera. If it's there, you can
Nope,
turn it on.
not on this HP Elite book. There's no such button. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, Maharaj.
I think it's in the settings somehow or other. When Zoom loads, it doesn't always load the settings properly.
I have a slider just above the light of the camera in my
Just above the light of the camera, there's a blank space.
oh,
Yeah, there's just above the light of the camera. There's nothing. It's my keyboard
okay.
and my end of my camera. Yeah.
Because I just figured out that for myself as well, that there's
Yeah,
a
but maybe you
slider.
have a different computer than I do. Yeah. Yeah. No, the camera is right at the very, very edge of my screen. And then above that there's this space.
We are glad that you can see us at least.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. Security participants. Wait, let me try a little bit here. I'll go to
Zoom is overriding your camera settings. I think Zoom is not having the permissions of your camera. That's why your camera is not showing.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. And it's not controlled by my participant thing. Maybe it's under more. Let's go look under more. More. And more says record on computer, record on cloud, reactions, copy streaming, hide video panel. Hide video panel? Hide floating meeting control, share sound, optimized for video clip. Okay. Well, okay. And then if I go to the right button here, it says, okay, which camera to use. Okay. Well, it gives me one camera. Blur my background, choose virtual guide, choose filters, video settings. The video settings. Background and effects. Okay. Video filters. Try out new filters. No, there's no filters at all. It said none. Okay. And I go to virtual background.
Prabhuji, go, Maharaj, you can go on video on the left side.
On what? Talk louder.
On video, below general.
The low what?
Left side.
Left side of what?
You were doing that blur thing, no? That one.
Left side of your screen at the top, there is a video sign in a green color. Just click on it.
No, Haile Babuji, is it okay? Because it's already a screen sharing. So if Maharaj video is not fine, so that is fine. We have to continue our class here.
Yeah.
Please continue, Prabhuji, Maharaji class. It's totally fine. We can understand the video is not working. So please take over the call, Maharaji.
Okay.
That's perfect. Yeah. I apologize, Maharaji. Hare Krishna.
And close, ask me reading general video. Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Okay, I've gone through all the different filters and don't find anything. Okay, so now we go. Can you see the screen?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, so apane juhati pranam, prane pranam tatapare, pranapana gati rudva, pranayama parayanaha, apare niyatahara, pranam pranesha juvati, which Srila Prabhupada translates as, many years ago, still others who are inclined to the process of breath restraint to remain in trance, practice by offering the movement of the outgoing breathing into the incoming, and the incoming breathing into the outgoing, and thus at last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Others, curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into a self as a sacrifice. So in general, of course, the perspective is that Arjuna has a problem. It's the very, very worst problem, which is civil war. When Prahlad Maharaj says the same thing, I've been through hunger, thirst, heat and cold, so many things. But the most difficult thing is when you have to be separated from those you love. And St. Francis of Assisi said the biggest austerity I've ever done, and he did big austerities, was to go on when the people who are supposed to be helping you actually turn against you. And so the civil war is a very, very difficult situation. And Krishna is offering different kinds of suggestions. In the very beginning, he says, as you're operating in a bodily concept of life, is practically speaking useless. He says, you're never going to be able to solve the problem, get peace at heart, as long as you're thinking about how to take care of these external things. There's this comment, you have to rethink your drink. Okay, that's the problem. I'm drinking whiskey sours, so I should turn to Bloody Marys. Okay, and I should turn to this beer, that beer. Okay, no, the whole process is to eliminate all kinds of alcohol. So similarly, Krishna in the very beginning gives a very simple process to don't think that you're the body. But Prabhupada says this is not sufficient. Arjuna needs more information. So in the third chapter, then Krishna goes ahead and starts talking about doing your duty as a sacrifice for him, Mayi Sarvani Karmani, and your sacrifice is based upon doing your duty as a Kshatriya, Brahmana, Vaishya, or Shudra. All living entities subsist upon grains. Grains come from rains. Rains come from sacrifice. The sacrifice comes from prescribed duties, and prescribed duties are described in the Vedas. So he's beginning to describe the whole process like that. If you try to describe the California seacoast with all these rocks and waves coming in and going back out and crossing each other and popping up on different shelves and different kinds of sea resources, or almost any scene, whatever city you're in, if you're trying to describe to people, the situation in the center of the city, it takes some time. You have to describe, well, it's daytime, it's not nighttime. And we're in a park, or we're in a building, or, you have to just start describing more and more detail, maybe general principles in the beginning. So Krishna gives some more idea about, karma and doing things for him, and renunciation and acquiring jnana, wisdom. And then in the beginning of the fourth chapter, he says, hey, this knowledge I'm giving to you is very authorized, it's very complete, very wonderful. Vishwanath Chakravarti, as we're remembering, he has his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, and he describes what Arjuna is thinking. Well, maybe Arjuna is thinking, wow, this is pretty interesting, but where's this coming from, Krishna? You're my friend, And then Krishna says, well, this is where it's coming from. I spoke this to the sun god. And then Arjuna asks, of course, Prabhupada says all this is for our benefit. He said, but wait a second, the sun god is much older than you are, and so forth, so on. And so Krishna starts to describe his Ajopi son of Avyayatma, start to describe how he's different. He's described as self-realized souls like Janak and others in the third chapter. We have no duty to perform because they're self-realized. But he hasn't really described himself as being too much different, than a self-realized soul. But here he starts to say, I am the source of all these people and everything else, and I incarnate again and again, to establish religion and to protect the faithful and to annihilate the impious. And so then he begins to go on describing his particular nature. You've been hearing that through different chapters. And you see the word karma, 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 karma appearing again and again. Then he goes into the point of starting this point of sacrifice, yagna. So very, very basic concepts: karma, yoga, jnana, and tyaga. Yeah, renunciation, wisdom, yoga, and karma. Yeah. And so then he starts to describe, of course, you read this before, no? On previous days, so many different kinds of sacrifices. And here he's going on with this. And of course, there's the sacrifice of your possessions, the sacrifice of eating, the sacrifice of wealth, and then the sacrifice of wisdom or knowledge. You know? Because somebody has a certain perspective. This is buddhi, this is intelligence. Knowledge means like, I know that it's hot outside, I know that it's cold, I know that the capital of California is Sacramento, I know that the capital of the United States is Washington, D.C. This is more on the level of manas, but on the level of buddhi, intelligence, perspective, attitude, then we start sacrificing our fundamental attitude towards all these different facts, our attitude towards our possessions, our attitudes towards our senses, which experience the possessions. It's the background. It's like the operating system in the computer. And some of the application packages work on top of the operating system. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is challenging some fundamental principles in terms of our perspective, our attitude, our bhava. And he says, people who sacrifice these things, that's another kind of sacrifice. Still others who are inclined to the process of breath restraint. And now he's talking about prana, which is described many times. And I think it is a lot of predominant ideas about prana in these sections, looking at all of them. So one time I was, I was in Berkeley, California, San Francisco, temple there. And I had studied karate, stuff when I was becoming a devotee and before. It was very, very nice philosophy, ideas, how to control the prana and so many things. And it helped in terms of being able to become free from different kinds of suffering and different kinds of agitation. And so one place there was this Peter Ralston, one of the best martial artists in the world. And so I would go by and look at his dojo. And one time I went inside and guests could come in, and one boy came over and the other people were practicing. And I was talking a little bit about what they were teaching and the different styles and so on. Then I asked him, well, what about the elements and so on? He said, there's earth, water, fire, and I was thinking, wow, this is the same as our Bhagavad Gita. First there's earth, and there's water, and there's fire. And then he said, and then there's wood and paper. No, earth, water, fire, wood, and paper. And I couldn't, or air or something in there. And so it was very different. We say earth, water, fire, air, and then sound. Okay, 5 elements, 5 gross elements. Space. So I asked him, well, what about air? And he said, in Chinese martial arts philosophy, air is like God. So that's their level of development. I think in the modern science, the way we're trained in our industrial society is very much on the level of fire, vision, seeing things. And we try and imagine them visually. If we have some experience, we try and take the sound and make it into a visual experience, for more accurate control. So this is, for some people, prana, air it's miraculous, the things that people can do when they're on this level and they're manipulating this. They can walk on water, so many things. So prana for many people is, even the word in English is spirit, is spirit, the Holy Spirit, respiration. God formed the some shape out of mud and then blew life into it. And the word is spirit. Many times I think in the Bible and so on, when it's talking about the soul, what's being translated is either the spirit or else the psyche, these things, which is kind of like the mind, so on. So Krishna is giving a very broad explanation here, and practical. Okay. So let me guess what we do here then. How much time do we have? Okay. So I'll go back to the text then. Let's do that. Because I hope you've already read the verses. Apane jivati pranam. Still others who are, let me go here, what I can eliminate the purports. There we go. Okay. Okay. Okay, so there's those who are inclined to the breathing process, offer the ingoing breathing to the outgoing breathing. Of course, these are very technical processes and they work. Myself, I can actually, when you're breathing in, you can feel it going down, At the same time, if you're actually pushing the air back up, the tactile experience back up, so at some points you can bring to the point where everything neutralizes. And Prabhupada calls it something about kumbhaka. He gives very technical terms. And if you have some experience in these things, you can realize these things. But yeah, they're equalized. Okay. In text 30, Sarve pi ete yagnya vido yagnak shapiti kalama saha yajna sistam mitabujo yanti brahma sanatana. All these performers of giving away your possessions, of giving away your opinion on things, of giving away your breathing, who know the meaning of sacrifice, become cleansed of simple reactions. And having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifice, they advance toward the supreme eternal atmosphere. Yante Brahma Sanatana. Okay. The meaning of sacrifice. Sarva eti yagna vido. Is there actually Sanskrit for that? Okay. Yagna vida, conversant with the purpose of performing sacrifice. Okay. So yagna vida, the meaning or the purpose. Okay. So we have to have yajna vida. So he's describing all these details, and now he's talking about general principles. Okay. Because we have to know the meaning of these sacrifices. Many, 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 many times, I'm sure you've heard Prabhupada talking about this, and talking about real yoga. He says now they do yoga for this purpose and that purpose. But he said real yoga involves, austerity, celibacy, doing certain things and trying to acquire immortality, trying to get free from the temporary reactions like that, trying to achieve longevity. Prabhupada is saying if you can, in the previous purport, he was explaining that when you can equalize the yoga, the breathing, so the body is not trying to pull down, and not trying to push up, then he says you can extend your life for fabulous duration of life. He says for the purpose of investigating immortality. Okay. Yeah. So we have, and Prabhupada says, I'm not talking about this fat reducing yoga. This fat reducing yoga. Okay. So very broad principles, he's introducing it. So if people who know the purpose of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reactions, not just some of them, but all of them, and having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifice, they advance towards the supreme eternal atmosphere. So very important in our process that we're getting a little bit of vision of the future. Practically speaking, in any kind of endeavor, unless we have some moments where we're looking ahead to what the results are, then we have no motivation to carry on. And so many times we realize, I'm not there yet. And when I'm practicing very intensely, controlling my breathing, chanting Hare Krishna very intensely, then I get some experiences. But then when the Mangalartik is over, the Kirtan's over on Janmashtami, and then I go back down. Okay, but I know it's there. It keeps reminding me, and I have to get free from these other attachments. I have to get free from that attachment, this attachment, whatever it is, so I can stay on this higher platform. I have to become accustomed to different kind of association to stay on these higher platforms. So having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifice, they advance toward the supreme eternal atmosphere. O best of the Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice, one can never live happily on this planet or in this life, what to speak of the next. All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. Evan bahu vidayagna ditata brahmano mukhe. Brahmano probably means the Vedas. Karma jan viditan sarvam evam yatva vimoksha se. So karma and mukti are here. So now again, he's relating this karma, the yajna to karma. And yeah, we have different kinds of work, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. He's explained this. And if we adopt those rules that are described in the Vedas, which are a kind of sacrifice, a Kshatriya may want to act like this and that, but he has certain restrictions. And the Kshatriya may not want to do this and that, but he has to do it. You know? And so whatever our position is, in Sri Dharma, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmana. Yeah, the Vedas are giving these details for becoming liberated. And Prabhupada is saying all these things are approved, all these things are purifying, all these things are, are actually authorized, are useful. Shreyan Java Maya Jagna. Oh, chastise for the enemy, the sacrifice.
This is so fucking boring. Can we get to the good shit?
Getting some echo there. Somebody's microphone. Hello. Okay. Oh, chastiser. What do we got here? Hello.
Swanee mute.
Mute. You have to mute your microphone. Yeah. Hello. Thank you. Oh, chastiser of the enemy.
Yeah, you want to see that, don't you? Yeah. It's a big ass cock for real.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Hello.
Big ass cock for real, man.
We're still getting echo from somebody's microphone.
Stop muting me.
Hello? Okay. O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge. My goodness. Yeah. Somebody's microphone is open. No?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I don't know who is this Prabhu, but I'm muting him, but I don't know how, but he's unmuting himself.
Get mute me, bitchy.
Okay, so we reject them and close the conference.
No, Mataji, I locked the meeting.
Okay.
Don't go.
Okay. Hello. Haribol. Okay. Shreyan Dravya Mayad Yagna. Okay. O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. So Krishna is going back again. You find it again and again. Vedic knowledge is very spiral. If you're a German person, you learn one thing, then the next thing, then the next thing. We go all the way through the Bhagavatam, and it's the same thing, and again and again, but from different perspectives, from higher and higher. So Krishna is going back again, and he's making it very clear. The sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the sacrifice of mere material possessions. After all, son of Prithu, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. Jnana parishamapyate. So it's the section we're covering, and now tomorrow you have Bhagavad Gita 434, which is one of the most. I've heard Prabhupada said sometimes it's the most important verse in Bhagavad Gita. Of course, he says that about different things, but definitely tadvidi pranipatena pranipatena, and all this sacrifice has to be learned from a guru. So this is kind of a general summary of what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Arjuna, of course, knows the Vedas. He's not an uneducated person. He's very educated. He's not only learned, Dhanura Veda and all these kind of things, but he's also learned, philosophy and culture and these kind of things. These are a part of the regular Gurukula training, besides the occupational duties for becoming a Brahmana, how to do sacrifices, how to offer the ghee, how to offer, different kinds of processes. And so Krishna is reviewing it, refreshing it, reminding Arjuna he's forgotten his perspective. And so far, it's still talking about Brahman, and it's still talking about things in a rather general sense, if you just look at the Bhagavad Gita. But in all these purports, practically speaking, every single purport, Prabhupada, again and again, I'm sure you've seen this, he says, okay, this is good, this is purifying, and maybe some detailed commentaries on it, and we can apply it, because but he says if somebody is fully engaged in devotional service, Mamcha Yobi Acharena, Bhakti Yogana Sevate, then automatically their prana is adjusted. Automatically they don't acquire too many things, because whatever they acquire, they use Krishna's service. Automatically their eating is controlled because they can eat prasadam. Automatically their understanding and perspective is controlled, because like this, we're studying Bhagavad Gita and Prabhupada's purports, Tikshota Gunacharya, as is recommended. And so then Prabhupada is saying Krishna consciousness. But then, of course, in Krishna consciousness also there's progressive stages. I always remember that Prabhupada says for every aspect of the Ashtanga yoga system, and the purports Prabhupada is pointing out, this is Patanjali's yoga system, it's like this and that, and he's quoting from it. Our acharyas, they know that Patanjali's Yoga Sutras probably better than the yoga, than the hatha yogis, and people know them. But for every single process in the Ashtanga yoga system, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, samadhi, there is a corresponding process in the Bhakti yoga system. When you have so much tension in your body, you've been doing so many things. Okay, so we come home and then we take a bath, and the bath is for cleaning the skin, but also the water is cooling. It cools down the fat, cools down the muscles, and the prana goes right back into the brains again. So taking a whole bath and the whole cleansing the whole body internally, externally with our program, and then putting on tilak and then touching different spots on the body with the prayers, and then we go into the artik. And I remember so many times my mind is just running because these people were harsh to me when I was out in Sankirtan and said something bad to me, and this devotees did this, and maybe I can get this. But as soon as the artik opens, we pay our obeisances, establishes a very nice perspective. Kiba Jayo Gora Chander Aroti Kaishaba. And immediately everything that goes back through. You tried your best, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And this is necessary if these people are going to be helped, if you go out and tolerate this. But they're just crazy people. Don't worry about them. They're just like you before you became a devotee. So within a few moments, you're of engaging in the artik, as we become purified, of course, it becomes faster and faster, and our losing our perspective of Krishna becomes less and less. And so we're sacrificing, we're acquiring knowledge, jnana. But Prabhupada says the best of this jnana is not just that I'm spirit soul, not that I'm different from matter, but that actually, I'm eternally related to the Paramatma. Yeah. He who resides everywhere, he who is the oldest, who knows everything, he who is everybody's best friend, and that's a Paramatma. And then Mahavishnu, the source of all the universes. And when I come to understanding Mahavishnu and my relationship with him, knowing it in truth, by doing the sacrifice prescribed by Lord Chaitanya, prescribed by his followers, and the way they describe it, following principles, worshiping the deity, then I actually realized that there's a cause behind everything, and we become more and more purified. And then after that, of course, the Srimad Bhagavatam, takes up with more and more advanced knowledge, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And of course, in the purports here, Prabhupada is including Srimad Bhagavatam, he's including Chaitanya Charitamrita. But basically, he's focusing on the basic ideas that the Bhagavad Gita is presenting. And when you become purified by following those, then you can go directly to the Bhagavatam and become more purified, and go all the way to Chaitanya Charitamrita, to not only to the Rasa Lila, but to Radharani specifically, and the Radharani in separation from Krishna. So we have tremendous amount of education. But here in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is giving a very nice point, which is true. So if we're kanista adhikaris in something, okay, we're just starting, and we see that we have to acquire the same things. We have to give up, to the Prabhupada says the ordinary girl will not be satisfied with less than 24 saris, like that. Ordinary girl, at least 24 saris. Okay. But then as you go on, you see that asking ladies in classes how many saris is too many. And Mother Uttamashi, very, very nice devotee, Prithu Prabhu's Partha's wife. They're part of the Grihastha Vision team, very nice in Canada. And she says it depends on whether she's a pujari or not. Yeah, because if you're pujari, then you have to have clean saris and so on every day, maybe twice a day, changing and so on. So within our higher perspective, Ramande Brahmatekom Bhagyavanchi, within a higher perspective, which we get this bija from Prabhupada, Krishna, then we can put these things in proportion. I got to stop smoking, okay. And okay, now I got to stop drinking alcohol, okay. Why? Because that was so nice. That kirtan was so nice. I remember for one moment, yeah. And maybe not just one bija. We're getting different seeds, and we're cultivating some of them principally. And this is why I want to do this, yeah. And I know this alcohol just makes my mind a crazy, violent storm, and everything else. And so I have to get free from this. Okay, what do I have to do? Okay, every time before I drink my whiskey, I'll chant one Maha Mantra. Yeah. Bhakti yoga is progressive rules and regulations. It's the yoga of progressive rules and regulations. And there's so many details for different people in different positions. Some people may not be attached to the mode of almost nothing. If you're born in Indian body, Indian culture, you may have very little attachment to Tamagun. But you may have a lot to Rajagun, to position, prestige, family traditions, and so on. Or you may be attached to the mode of goodness. And then you end up thinking, well, I'm better than others. I'm a poet. I'm a vegetarian. I'm like this and that. So you become attached to being good in terms of other people, which is still some Rajagun in there and so on. And then finally, of course, we come to the point of actually gradually beginning to see Krishna and develop relationships with Krishna. And then the purification goes on pretty much without even acquiring knowledge, without even consciously doing it. Our only concern is how can I improve my service? But if you're in Grihastha ashram, the deity worship is mandatory. Prabhupada says that a Grihastha who does not worship the deity according to their means, whatever opulence they have, is 100% guaranteed to fall down. And if you're in sannyasa ashram and you're not developing a constant recollection of Krishna in your heart, then you're also not going to be satisfied or progressive. So anyway, there's so much very, very nice. I think I tried to summarize what I've noticed is prominent in the purports. But any questions or comments at this point? Any particular topics?
If anybody has any comments, they can raise their hand and I will unmute you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, your video is not working. Om Namo Bhagavate. Oh, there's Bhakti Guillermo is here from Monterrey. Yeah, he gives long lectures on eating fruit. We can give you a 4-hour seminar on eating fruit like that, which is very enlivening. It says if you're going to eat fruit, eat a big bowl. It's very nice.
Pranam, it's nice to meet you.
Hare Krishna, nice to see you too.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Where's your tilak? You don't have any tilak on your forehead. Like that. The devil's going to get you. They're nice. Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate.
Mihika, are you able to unmute yourself?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna Maharaji. I like that class a lot. Thank you very much. I learned a lot about how you explained it, and on the verses and like the different examples that you gave, and also in the amount of depth that you explained all the details. Thank you, Maharaji.
Okay. Well, thank you for appreciating my stupid endeavors. Parvati says that there are ordinary people who see people's good and bad qualities, but higher, more advanced people, they only see people's good qualities. They said that Lord Shiva is so nice; he sees people's bad qualities as good qualities. Yeah. So thank you for seeing our good qualities. Om Namo Bhagavate.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Six Mama Base, Maharaj. Thank you for class, Maharaj. I was coming in a little late, but I was hearing the ending part of that with worshiping deities in the home, and I was just wondering, Maharaj, maybe if someone was not quite, if someone was not a grahasta, but they have their own deities at home, maybe Gorni Thai deities, is there less chance of fall down serving Gorni Thai deities as opposed to maybe like Radha Krishna deities in the home or something like that?
Video settings. Okay. I'm gonna do one thing here. Okay, I'm gonna choose virtual background, put a picture of that. Okay, there's my picture. It's a nice picture. Okay. This is Hanuman delivering the ring to Sita. One thing you see in Isa Upanishad, and you see it again in Nectar of Instruction, and you see it again in Bhagavad Gita, and again and again and again. There's almost like maybe like 30, 40, really important principles that keep coming up again and again, and the acharyas keep showing them from different perspectives. And one of these is that one should not try to imitate somebody on a higher platform. Okay, I'll just imitate. And there's so many stories about this from the Grimm's fairy tales and the Panchatantra. We think, oh, I'll just imitate. I'll imitate the wizard, Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse was trying to imitate the wizard. And no, that's not a way to advance. We have to follow the pathway that the advanced person took, to get to that position. Narada Muni, Vyasadeva asked Narada Muni, he says, well, can you tell me how you became so advanced? And Narada Muni says, yes, I'll tell you, because it will be conducive for your self-realization. So Prabhupada, when he's describing how he got to the position where he is in terms of the Bhagavatam, in terms of so many things, he's going to be thinking, who's the audience? And different people are there. I'm writing for the next 10,000 years, but I'm also writing for a contemporary audience. Yeah. So generally speaking, of course, we recommend, that people worshiping deities, they start with the worship of Gornatai, Gornatai, because they're the incarnations for the current age. And so they're the most accessible, it's most natural. But at the same time, too, if we're chanting Hare Krishna, then it's not at all, what's the word, unusual or unnatural to want to have pictures of Radha and Krishna and so on. This is more like Padasevana. Archana, what's it go? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam. So Archanam, as we understand, that's the actual process of installing deities. And then there's a certain standard, and Krishna promises a certain result. Prabhupada says he wants to establish the worship of Shilas, Shalagam Shila, in all of our temples. But he said most of the people we're initiating are not on the standard of the cultural assets to do this, so we're waiting to do it. And so, we have to understand our particular level, and having pictures of Radha and Krishna in the house and everything else, that's fine. But we shouldn't really try and worship them, without the mercy of Gornatai. Somebody who's just coming, he's chanting Hare Krishna. Maybe you even had this happen to you. And okay, but then you figure out, oh my gosh, I have to accept that Krishna is the source of Jehovah. Okay, so something there, and we begin to appreciate that. Then I discovered I also had to accept that Lord Chaitanya. Oh my God, I had to accept something else, and so I had to investigate more and investigate. Okay, yeah. So that's how it goes. In the beginning, the first spiritual master, the first object of worship was the father and mother, and the big sisters and those kind of people. Then as we grow up a little bit, then we understand social authorities, and policemen, my father and mother, and then maybe we can start to get some instruction. And we begin to understand that God is there in a general sense. Allah, Jehovah, Narayan, so many things. Then probably so the next step is where we begin to appreciate an acharya. If you see many times Christians, I know my tradition, they'll say, "Oh, Jesus Christ is God," and they can't distinguish Guru taught from Bhagavan. But as you become more purified, then you begin to realize, yes, there's a difference between Ram and Lakshman, and Lakshman is also not an ordinary jiva soul. Oh, okay. So we start to understand Guru and Krishna's incarnations and so on. And so there's, if you're artificially trying to jump ahead and start worshiping Shalagam Shilas or worshiping Radha and Krishna, yeah, then it will be a problem, your vanity. But if you're trying to just understand, that's the goal. Prabhupada says, chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada says, have pictures of Krishna in the house and Rama. Okay, we should have them, but always with picture of Prabhupada. And we become more purified, picture of Prabhupada with his guru. Aha. And then a picture of, Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta, and Panchatattva. So that perspective, then there's almost no possibility, keeping the association of devotees and worshiping them as Prabhupada says. No meat, no fish, no eggs. No onion, no garlic. No grains cooked like armies. Okay?
Yes, thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much. It's really helpful. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Hope to see you soon.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Nandavigita. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna. Okay, yeah.
Maharaj, nice class, Maharaj. In this class, you explained that Bhakti Yoga means build our characters towards a forward direction. So the question here is that, what is the evaluation process, Maharaj? How do I know that I'm moving forward or backward?
Hanuman, his prayers on the 5th canto, he says, there is a touchstone by which you can examine the quality of different metals and so on, right? But he says, oh, Ramachandra, your character is so advanced that by looking at it, you can examine everything. So just keep association with Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, well, what will happen to you when you die? I will never die. I will live forever in my book. And so there it is. That's so many ways to answer that question. But one of them is if you're just hearing Prabhupada's tapes, recording, listening to his kirtan. Oh, every day in the morning I listen to Prabhupada's, there's a bhajan thing. I was putting in the copy Dwaja. And it's where Prabhupada's playing the harmonium and chanting, and it's just I don't want to listen to that. I force myself to do it. Okay, yeah, then it's right away. This is how Prabhupada's chanting. I see where my chanting is at. You read his books and his purports, 15 minutes of reading, basically following the rules and regulations that our Acharya gives, and saying in the association of devotees, those two things, which of course are related. So Prabhupada recommends an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening, with devotees talking about Krishna, doing kirtan. And then you see right away, it just becomes obvious, yeah. Do you have progress? Do you need to make progress?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah, okay. And do you see what kind of progress? Certain areas you need. Have you made any progress?
Yes, Maharaj. Because of the Nitai Gaurasundara Prabhu and the devotees mercy, we got our association every day.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah. And then you can look at the people around you. That's the other side of the coin. You look at devotees, that's a look up. But you look at the people around you and you see everything else. And even people who come like you, Indians and people like that, and you say, wow, for example, I meet people that I went to college with, and maybe, so many years later, and I can see where they're at and where I'm at, and I can see the differences. My God, it's just, yep. And because it's a gradual process, many times you don't notice that you're advancing. You don't see it because it's gradually, but then you stop and take a look and look back and you realize, yeah, I mean, compared to these people and everything else, my God, yes, I'm quite a different person than I was 10 years ago. Yeah. So keep association with devotees, especially pure devotees like Prabhupada, and then follow the rules and regulations, and you'll be very obvious.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Maharaj. Madhumanjini Mataji, do you have a question?
She's from the land down under. She's calling in from Australia.
Oh, she raised her hand, but I'm not sure if she has a question.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Pranams. I just was reflecting when you mentioned about sacrifice of the knowledge, sacrificing knowledge, and the use of intelligence. So I was wondering more about the cultivation of the ideal intelligence in that way. Could you please elaborate a little bit more about it?
Okay, thank you. Very nice question. In the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, one who studies this Bhagavad Gita, with intensity, with service, they worship me with their intelligence. Okay, yeah. Are you your body? Are you a woman? Are you a woman?
Well, no, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. So that's the sacrifice. I mean, you're talking to people maybe in your family relations, this and that, and you try and tell them, well, you shouldn't act like a woman or something like this or that or something, or something, and they become upset, they become angry, and stuff. No, I am this, because they're invested in that. That's what they're planning on manipulating. That I'm a woman, and therefore I have these rights, and I'm going to demand this, and I'm going to get that, and everything else. Or I'm a child. Oh, when I can get this, I can do that, I can do this. And so we're on that level. Bhagavad Gita, at the very beginning, says, to our very first thing Krishna tells Arjuna is, you're not the body. And so for many people, that's just, they just do not like that. That's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice to give it up because it's so gratifying. Prabhupada at one point kind of saying, I like thinking of myself as an old Indian man. It's very gratifying thinking of myself as an old Indian man. I have certain rights and things. I don't have to do certain things and so forth, so on, But yeah, so because he enters into the field, he accepts these things and so forth, so on. But that's the sacrifice of knowledge, of facts, information. Everybody should eat meat 3 times a day, or what? Facts, information, knowledge. But jnana and vijnana means more like wisdom, perspective. The attitude we have. I always mention this quote. I remember there was one brigadier general in the U.S. Army, and the brigadier general was a lady. And it's probably not a single person in a single sangha would like to tangle with her. She was a solid black brigadier general lady. Okay, tough, And anyway, and her attitude was, her bhava, her buddhi, her perspective towards all the information that was coming in, through the senses or whatever, like that, the knowledge that's coming into her mind, the facts, was that just because we occupy space in this world, we have a debt to other people. It's not because of this or that or this or that. No, it's because you're occupying a space in this world, you are obligated to other people. So very, very, what's the word, aristocratic, something, what's the word, that a brigadier general, we expect him to be a noble person. So she was a very noble woman. So that's the difference. Knowledge is just memories, and memories that we acquire, you might say, in some perspective. And then the attitude behind that is the perspective, the attitude. In English, it's very easy. We say, oh, I understand. somebody's giving you all kinds of information, this and that, and you say, oh, now I understand. You know, because then you can put it all in. And usually the first understanding is our cases, we're trained to use, Euclidean geometry, logic, and that kind of logic. You know, and so when we can put it into like a nice, flow chart and this kind of stuff. Oh, I understand. You know? But then there's higher kinds of attitude. The higher kinds of intelligence, of course, is based upon rasa. So does that help?
Yeah, yeah, and also in that sense, can we understand that it's proportional to the level of awareness of ourselves and others at the same time?
Can you say it again? There's a little bit of breakup because of the distance. A little slower. Can you say again?
Okay, it's more trying to relate the use of intelligence as an attitude. It's proportional to the level of our awareness of ourselves and the others as well.
Yes. There's one thing. The eye can never see itself. The knife can never cut itself. So our only awareness of self-awareness is in mirrors. The eye can see itself in a mirror, like that, and so on. And so our self-consciousness is totally dependent upon how we see ourselves reflected in other people. That's Arjuna's problem. He sees him reflected in his family members. Quite natural. And Krishna, they may be rascals, they may be monsters, everything else, but Krishna, they're my cousins, Krishna. Yeah, it's very poignant. That's what's happening. We have so many years together, good and bad. But then what Krishna is suggesting, let me be your friend, let me be your mirror. And I'm everywhere. When you start to see me in all these different people and these activities, and you see how Duryodhana is actually, carrying out the Paramahamsa point of view, then you'll see me and you'll see yourself perfectly. And you understand then why you have to kill Bhishma and why you have to kill Drona. And that's very good. So Krishna consciousness, Ganesh means, Prabhupada says, half-educated spiritual masters try to make humanity the object of self-realization. And you see this so many times in different movies. The hero is going to save the world, he's going to save this and that. Yeah, because that's lower idea. Ecology, all the animals, all the people, that's who I respect. Oh, this is my temple, And so, but higher is then when we actually realize that Krishna is the source of this, realize it. So proportionate in terms of how we're seeing ourselves in terms of other people. And then as it goes on, how we're seeing ourselves in other people in terms of their relationship with Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you. Yes. Australia.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Anybody has any other question for Maharaj?
So sometime my camera works on Zoom. Yeah. Maybe the configuration also. I don't know. Nobody else has this problem, do they? Except me. So it must be my. Maybe I haven't uploaded the latest. See, I don't use Zoom. I use GoToMeeting. Which is to me the third biggest company. I never like to support giants. I support underdogs. Yeah. So.
Hare Leela Prabhu, would you like to say something?
Yes, you can be our chief. You can be the chief guest. Hare Leela.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj, that you have accepted our invitation. And we're always looking for your association, Maharaj. And we hope that you will keep coming to Parsarthi Foundation to enlighten our audience, our devotees who joined today.
Yeah. Well, thank you all very, very much. And now we're going to offer some hot milk to Lord Nrsingadev with sugar and read the Krishna book.
That is your usual routine, Maharaj. You're gonna do.
Oh, it's Prabhupada. Every night, Prabhupada would have hot milk with sugar and read the Krishna book.
Srinivasacharya Prabhu was telling me the Maharaj took that deity back.
Yeah. Well, he was, yeah. Krishna's a very cruel person.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you all very, very much. Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada ki jai. Back home, back to Godhead.
Maharaj ki jai. Maharaj ki jai. Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Pancha kalpa taro Krishna kripa
Wonderful
you,
class,
Maharaj.
Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj. Lovely.
Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, you end the call.
Okay. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Mataji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Pranam.
Mataji.
Yes.
Thank you.